Oh yeah, what's happening, everybody? L.A.R. movement still moving, and everything's in the links in the description box below. This video is entitled. I just wanted to point at you a little bit. Fathers aren't part of the modern family. So shout out to O'Shea. He did a video on Dr. Dre, 50 Cent getting into it with Dr. Dre's daughter, and her response was very normal, not necessarily interesting, but normal. You know, she felt like 50 Cent disrespected her mother, so she wanted to, come in defense of her mother. But the irony of that was, it looked as if it never dawned on her that her mom was wrong in what she was doing with her father, which means, you know, and this video actually also was inspired by my dad. We were talking about life, and he says, he realized now that he worked so hard for his family, not understanding that he didn't have one. Because inside the household, the kids are taught to not appreciate, but even vilify the father. So we were talking about, and leaving things for people, and I had brought up the point. I was like, sometimes you got to think about skipping a generation because you don't want to leave something to somebody and they just blow it out of spite. And that was, and for him, it was like he was caught. He was like, man, I didn't even think about that. I got to rethink some things because, yeah, that could definitely happen. And a lot of that, people don't take into consideration that, whether the father's in the household or he's outside of the household, he's vilified either way. And that means he's not part of the family. And, I was watching a movie last night, dope movie with Michael Jai White, Sudden Death. I think it's something Sudden Death on something Sudden Death on Netflix. But the son in the beginning he felt like his dad was a loser because his dad worked as a security guard, and not understanding his dad was like a special forces agent, right? But the son had to see his dad, save a lot of people. Well, I don't want to spoil the movie, and then go, oh man, my dad's pretty cool. Like what? That's what it took. Forget, you're living good, you're eating good, you're raised properly, and he's, there being effective with it, but usually he's a loser to you. No problem. But that wouldn't be the same, for a mom. If a mom was a security guard, she'd do whatever she gotta do to take care of us. It's like that's because fathers aren't part of the family, and I hate to say it this way, but it's the only way I can say it. Most fathers know this. I'm not saying that this happens to all fathers, but this happens to a lot of fathers, and they know. Look, I'm the outcast of the family that I really created. I'm the outcast of my own family. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to something Mike Tyson was saying, and I know it might sound weird for some. But Mike Tyson, they had a clip of him in his upcoming fight with Roy Jones, and he was like, I know my kids love me because I'm their father, but I don't think they like me. And there's a lot of dads who feel the same way. And part of the not liking them is taught. It's not just I don't like you because, I just don't like you as a human being. No, I've been taught to not like you. And the flip side of that was, this week I was watching a video of Marlon Humphrey, not Humphreys, cornerback for the Baltimore Ravens. He just got a contract extension, and it's like on TMZ. And he's a clip. He's talking about his life and experiences, his family. And he started talking about his father and teared up because he understood that what his father was instilling in him, and how important his father was and where he is today, and he wants to someday become a father just like his dad, and he teared up about it. He couldn't. He kept stopping and stopping, and I remember thinking back that, you know, it's great that I'm seeing that more and more, but a lot of people don't want to admit that these type of success stories happen more and more when dad's involved, and dad isn't a villain. And and even I go through it where, sometimes I'm used as, send it to your daddy. If you send it to your daddy, he gonna light you on fire like a witch. you know, and it becomes humorous, but it's ridiculous at the same time, because the kids be, no, he gonna kill me, Lord, he gonna kill me, don't do it, mama, don't give up on me. It's like, oh my God, and that means you're not part of the family, because, even when we look at, especially the black family, somebody had a thing about emojis, right? And they said they got all the black emojis, but the black family emoji with, husband, wife, son and daughter, you can't click on the black one. You can't just hold it and then the black one pop up. It don't pop up. And even in emojis, that's not gonna happen, player. And people lack the importance. People act like the importance doesn't exist. And part of that is, I think people vilify a father's role as far as being realistic. And what I mean by realistic is, we live in a fantasy type of society where people want to tell you dreams can come true without work. And fathers don't operate like that. Dreams don't come true without work. So a lot of times fathers are vilified because they're like, you're going to have to do something. You can't just wake up one morning and be great. That's not how it works. And for some odd reason, that's a bad trait, a negative trait, or something to be disrespected. And you start thinking about it, well, I start thinking about it, as in, things I've seen over and over and over again, where you even have these shows where dad has been lied on, or treated horribly, or manipulated. The kids have been used as weapons, and you can't even really apologize to them. And the kids are not even, they like, say you're sorry for what you did to them. Okay, well, let's get over it. Let's go to Denny's now. We're gonna go to IHOP and just have some pancakes, and that 20 years lying on you and throwing you in the mud that wasn't true. Little French toast is all that. Little French toast, little syrup, we good now. Because that's how you treat somebody who's not in the family. You don't care about people who are not part of your family like that. And when you're blood but not part of the family, it takes a toll on a lot of guys. Some people don't understand why guys are depressed, and guys have issues, and sometimes guys become drinkers of this, that, and the third, is because, they realize that they've become the villain in a superhero movie that don't exist, and they don't know how to, there's nothing they can do about it. And the irony about that is, using the Dr. Dre thing, the kid, that kid is so young that she might not even take into consideration, man, because it was, the quote that bothered me was, she said, my family helped you. She was talking about somebody, my family. So it was her family when her dad was helping people. But when it's her dad getting screwed, that's a different story. Like, When dad comes out of his pocket to do something for somebody, that's our family. You know, when mom steps away from dad and want $2 million a month or $1.5 million a month, that's his problem. That, you know, and that sentiment is so normalized in society that people don't see the problem with it. Thus, you know, this passes down from one generation to the next. This is why, you know, the kids who are males wind up becoming the guy on the outs in his own family, and it starts to click. Wait, the same thing that happened to dad. The girls grow up to be mothers, and they think it's normal to try to put the dad on the outside of the family, and then at some point when the guy just, all right, I'm moving on. That's, you know, it takes a while. They get angry, and then it clicks later on, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, this is what's happening. So I'm done. Think about it. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.